Hey, welcome to Single Car Garage today. Well, we finally got down to the shop today and found a couple of more problems we need to fix, and let me show you what I found. If you look closely, this is the peg that fits through the regulator in the car, and if you look, it's bent. This is one that's not bent, so you can kind of tell the difference. What we're going to do is I'm going to bring this over here to the vise, hold it on the vise, take a socket that fits around this and slightly tap it and try to get it bent back into shape. Found a socket that lines up pretty good. Now, you don't want your vise very wide open, or what it will do will be bending from these sides, and what we want to do is just fix that center. After a few good taps, nice and straight, ready to use. Now you want to be careful and not hit it. The reason I did not want to hit this peg is you could break these edges off, and that way you couldn't connect it to the regulator. Also, you could bend it. And you also want to be careful about being too wide. This is riveted in, and you don't want to loosen this up. And that's another reason not to have your vise too wide. But found that socket, lined it up, put it on the vise to hold it, and now we've got it. It's just as straight as the other one. So this will work out real good. So we get that cleaned up and it is ready to install. One of the things you do before you install all your door panels and windows, if you'll get down in the crevices in your car, you'll see a little bit of surface rust down there. What we'll do is sweep all this out real good. Then we'll come back in and put a rust converter, and then we will seal it with POR 15. And that will prevent any of this rust from coming back and causing problems on down the road. Same way with the doors. Get in there and clean them out really good. Then get down in the crevices. Seal it real good with a rust converter, and then come back with POR 15. And you should never have any kind of rust problems whatsoever. Also, if you've ever, if you do any patching work on your metal, that's another good thing to do, is go in behind it if you can get to it, and make sure you put a rust converter and then seal it with POR 15. This car here, we did do a little patchwork in the corner of one door. You can't get to the back side of it, but what we will do, once we clean this out, we will spray back into the crevices and corners, and same thing with POR 15. We'll put some in, we'll take the air hose, and we'll force it into the crevices. And that should cause problems. Even though we cut it out and replaced a piece of metal, you shouldn't have any problems. But I like getting where those welds are done very well sealed before you finish the job. The other thing I use is KBS wax sealer. It is a grease that sprays in the crevices. It repels water. I thought I had some to show you all, but I couldn't find the can. But it's called KBS, and it's a seam sealer that goes in the seams, leaves a tacky wax buildup, and keeps moisture out of your seams. So that's another good item to use if you want to prevent rust. I try to do as much as possible to prevent rust from coming back. So all around the doors on the inside, all the sealing, where the seams and stuff are, we will spray down. with a rust converter and POR 15. Same thing in the back quarter panel, around the fender wells and all around the back. We'll do the same thing. We'll clean it up real good. We will put some sealer in it. And then we will come back with that wax sealer and spray it. And that should, you're never going to stop rust completely. That should give this paint job a good 15, 20 years before any problems come back. And we'll do the same thing around the tail where we did some repairs. We've already painted the floorboards on top and underneath with POR 15. So that should prevent most of the rust from ever coming back. You know, like I said, the best thing to do is just look for every spot there is where metal is bent over metal, where there's a seam, or metal's welded together in these old cars. When you've got them apart, clean it up, treat it, get some POR 15 on it or another rust sealer, and that should definitely last you the life of the paint job. So I've got all the window stuff fixed, ready for my daughter to come in here tomorrow and start assembling. Like I said in a previous video, her plan is to get the windows in, get the door panels on. I've got door panel protectors, just like the original ones, made out of a wax paper. So we're ready to put all that together, and then we'll go forward from there and start working on the seats. And she's also got to finish off the headliner as far as the trim on the inside. Then we'll have the inside done. And she's off on vacation, so block sanding, and probably by the end of this week, or this coming week, we should have this thing just about ready for paint. And that way I'll come back after she leaves, kind of detail odds and ends, look it over real good, make sure we're 100% ready, and start spraying it as soon as we have a few 75 degree days together. Then we will start spraying it. And we're still torn between satin white with black bumpers, or gloss white with black bumpers. And what we're thinking about doing is this part here that you'll see that this is actually a gray primer. But the plan is satin white with black bumpers, and then we're going to black out all the chrome that goes in this area, and also black out the front. Kind of give it a raccoon look in a little bit. But we're thinking that it'll add some to the car and make it pop. Otherwise, we'll go white with all the original chrome and not do anything to it. So we're still debating paints, but white's probably going to be our base color. Appreciate it, and man, I will update you all as we get a little bit more work done. Have a great day.